Shadow Figure of a Demon. This story was submitted to the site by Bloodshot Eyes from USA, saying, I've seen and heard unexplainable things for many years. Mostly it happens in the few nights surrounding the full moon. I don't know why. The subject of my post, though, begins a little over 2 years ago when I was on my honeymoon. We were staying in a cabin, and one night, by the fireplace just after being intimate, I began to see a black figure standing still watching us. I was scared, but didn't mention it as we went to bed. It was there next to the bed as soon as I laid down, and I actually told my husband that I was sleeping. I was seeing it and freaking out. He didn't see anything. So after the sun rose and I was in my right mind again, I chalked it up to me being unstable somehow. After arriving home to the apartment we were newly living in, I started to see the shadow figure every night in the spare bedroom. In the darkness through the slightly open door, I would try keeping the door closed, but somehow it was always open again. Although that could have been my husband's doing, I was afraid to say anything because I was convinced that saying it out loud will let the creature know that I was aware of it, and that would lead it to attack or something. I started seeing it in our room as well, and when I saw it standing in the corner, even with the light on, with an intimate moment with my husband, I had had enough, and I broke down and told him. I had a bit of a meltdown that night, but he still could not see it and tried to comfort me. After that, I didn't see it again for a long time and felt much better. I figured my not wanting to say anything about it was probably the wrong decision, and I probably could have saved myself a lot of fear. Well, I have seen it again lately, but only in the dark and usually when I'm alone. I know that the eyes can play tricks in the dark, and I'm not discounting the possibility that I want to see or hear and hear might be all in my head, but tonight's events seem different. For one thing, it's far from being the full moon, and what I saw was much clearer. I went into my bedroom to get my computer, but I could see my husband lying in his spot in the bed. We had been planning earlier to be intimate when we got the chance, but I was surprised that he had stopped gaming so early for it. I didn't mind though, and was smiling and about ready to crawl into bed with him, when it suddenly struck me that I've never seen him lying in bed at 9 o'clock before without also looking at his phone. There was no phone light shining on his face, so I began to pull my phone out to shine my flashlight on him, and I heard a slight rustling sound coming from his direction. And as I turned on my flashlight and nothing was there, not even bedding in the shape of a person. Yes, it was dark, but there was a street light through the window and I could clearly see his head with it until I turned on my light. Then suddenly I could hear him again downstairs, still playing his video game, but I could not hear him the whole time. I thought he was in bed. My immediate reaction was to laugh and calmly go downstairs to the real him, but as I've been sitting on the couch thinking about it, I'm kind of worried about what it all might mean. I wish I was making this up. I didn't make the mistake of keeping it to myself this time, but I think he thinks I'm joking. I did some research on INCUBI, although maybe I shouldn't have. Everything I've found about the old beliefs only say it does this thing while the victim sleeps, nothing like what I thought almost happened to me. But still, I'm afraid to go to sleep now, at least by myself. I'm afraid to do anything by myself. Does anybody know any more about this type of experience? I'm at a loss about where to go from here, she said. And this is on Unexplained Mysteries. Obviously, she needs to go to a father confessor, tell him about this, go to a Christian Orthodox confessor. He will come to your home. He will do a home blessing and exorcism on the home, which of course has to do with throwing out the demonic entities, and also be in the sanctities and sacraments of Christ. This is from Unexplained Mysteries. I'll leave a link. But this just reminded me of that wonderful book of Tobit in the Old Testament. You should read it. I also have a playlist of it, in my playlist of it, I believe. But This reminds me of Tobit in that the young man was told to go and find one of his cousins who was already married many times before, and every night, the night of her first intimacy with her new husband after marriage, like their honeymoon, to begin with their honeymoon, the demonic entities would do away with her husband. And this went on for a number of times. So this woman who became Tobit's wife had a demonic entity attached to her, being jealous of her husbands and doing away with them. So the archangel Raphael appeared in a human form to Tobit and his family and told him what to do to get rid of this demonic entity, to save his wife. In other words, offer incense to God, pray to God for protection, and various things that we do in our, God was incarnate to give us protection from entities like this, because unfortunately, even if you believe it or not, they are around and they do affect our lives. So this woman was lucky in that she saw it. She should get in touch with, I believe, a priest, preferably Christian Orthodox priest, and he will come to the home and do a blessing for the house and also tell her what to do and her husband what to do. Obviously, this demonic spirit took on the appearance of her husband, making her believe it was her husband, whereas it was not. The husband was downstairs. So you can understand how dangerous this is to keep this to her. She was keeping this to herself, but she should also, of course, right away, when you have experiences like this, go to the people that are knowledgeable of how to get rid of these entities forever. Okay, so please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.